Hello everyone, welcome to Meihua Chinese class. I am the teacher for this class. My name is Jasmine. I am a certified international Chinese teacher. I speak 2 foreign languages. I speak English for many years as I worked in multinational companies for more than 10 years. Also, I started to learn Spanish this year. I am passionate about learning different languages and different cultures. I understand that for many learners, learning Chinese can feel overwhelming. The tones, the characters, the grammar that works nothing like English. But here's the truth. Most difficulties are not your fault. They come from learning in a scattered, unsystematic way. In my classes, I will use systematic approach and side-by-side comparisons with other languages to help you learn Chinese more effectively. By the end, you will believe that Chinese grammar is the easiest compared with English or Spanish. For characters, 3,000 characters are enough for you to handle 90% of the communication in life within China. Let's begin. Today we are going to learn the fundamentals of Chinese pronunciation system, Pinyin. This is the agenda. It will cover 3 parts. The first part is about the phonemes or the elements of the Pinyin. 音素. The second part is about syllable. 音节. The third part is about the tone. As we may already know, the tone is part of the pronunciation of each Chinese character, right? So it has every Chinese character has one or a few more normal tones, but in some circumstances, the tone may change a little bit. So we will see what are those circumstances so that you could pronounce more like a native speaker. So the first part, phonemes. As we may already know, the Chinese language is a logographic script, which means you can tell or you can guess the rough meaning of it, but no way for you to pronounce the character because there is no phoneme in the writing. You cannot tell that. But for English, for German, for French, for Spanish, they have the same root, right? Latin language, and they belong to phonetic script, which means you can easily tell the pronunciation from it, but you may not be able to tell the meaning. So that's the very apparent difference between Chinese and the European languages. But here, about the phonemes in Chinese pronunciation, why would we also have vowels and consonants? These are concepts from the English, right? From the Western languages. There is an interesting story actually for this. Before 1958, just 9 years after the foundation of China, the new China, before that, we used a different pronunciation system to record the pinyin, the pronunciation for each Chinese character. That method is still in use in Taiwan province. Maybe you can find it if you have any friend from Taiwan province. They are still using it as part of their pronunciation system. but we don't use it anymore. So after foundation of China, because of the global communication, right, was becoming wider and wider. The government decided to utilize a more global method to record the pronunciation for Chinese language. We issued one schema in 1958 to utilize alphabets for the Chinese pronunciation. That's why we have vowels and consonants as the phoneme in Chinese pronunciation system. So for vowel in Chinese, we call it 元音, 元音, 元音. For consonant, we call it 辅音, 辅音. So for vowels, we have 3 types. Single vowel or monophthong, double vowels, diphthongs, 3 vowels, triphthongs. We have 3 types. So in total, we have 10 plus 9 plus 4. We have 23 vowels. So for monophthongs, in Chinese, it's 元音 we already know, right? 元音 vowel. For single vowel, it's 单元音. 单 means single. 单元音, 单元音. For diphthongs, it's 双元音. 双 means double. 双元音. For triphthongs, 三元音. 三元音. 三 means 三 is number. Is number in Chinese means 3. 三元音. So let's see how we pronounce each of these vowels. For monophthongs, single vowel, we have 10, right? So let's try pronounce it. In English, it's easy to pronounce as A. No, but in Chinese, we call it A, 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 O, O, E, E, U, U, Ü, Ü. This is a variation of the vowel of E. We can tell the difference when we pronounce it in the syllable. We will learn about this later. So this is the second variation of E. When it comes after some certain consonants, it pronounces a little bit different. The ninth one, er. The 10th, so we have 10 single vowels. The diphthongs, double vowels. A, I, 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 A, A, O, ow, ow, O, U, O, ya, ya, ye, ye, wa, wa, wo, yue. For triphthongs, 3 vowels. I, o, yao, 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 y, y, wei, wei. I, O, U, yo, yo, yo. So actually for the third one, the fourth, because the middle vowel, we pronounce it very lightly. So in spelling, we omit it. So 3 vowels becomes 2 vowel in spelling. But when pronounce it, we still pronounce the middle one, but just a little bit light. We, you. Okay, for consonant, we have 22 consonants. And the pronunciation here, actually, it is different from English alphabet. So you can practice after me. B, b, p, p, m, m, f, f, d, d, t, t, n, n, l, l, g, g, h, h, g, 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 chi, chi. This one, chi, is very different from the way in English. English, it usually pronounces as like k, right? K, question, quick. K, it pronounces as k, but in Chinese, it's ch, ch. And X, similarly. Here we pronounce it as sh, sh, sh. And zh, this is zh, and ch, ch, sh, sh. Yeah, this is quite different from English pronunciation. Zh, ch, sh, zh, zh. This is similar. This is similar. Z, z, c, c, s, s. And this is the only one with 2 letters, but we think it as a single consonant. The sound, if you practice it, the sound should come from the nose, from the back of your tongue and through the nose to come out. Second part, syllable. So whether it's in English or in Spanish, every word, right? Every word usually has more than 1 syllable. Usually it's 1 vowel corresponds to a syllable. I mean that, of course, plus the consonant before the vowel or after the vowel. But the vowel is the core of a single syllable. So an English word may be 1 syllable, 2 syllables, or 3 syllables, or even 5 syllables. And we have to make a rule to decide the stressed syllable. On which syllable should we pronounce in a stressed way, and for the rest in an unstressed way, right? That's one of the grammar rules. But what is special here in Chinese language? Every Chinese character or every word in English has only 1 syllable. That's the very special, right? Very special part of the Chinese language. And what make up of a single syllable? There are 3 parts. The first part is initial. Literally, it means it comes at the beginning. initial, right? 声母, 声母. The second part is final. Final comes after initial. 韵母, 韵母. The third part is tone. Tone. Every Chinese character has a tone, right? Either it's 1, 2, 3, 4, either of them. So, for most Chinese characters, these three parts, every syllable has these three parts, and they are all mandatory. So let's look at what is initial, what is final. Okay, this is about the rule I just mentioned. One Chinese character, one syllable. This almost applies to all Chinese characters. But there is one exception. You can listen to this, but you don't have to master it. Means you don't have to use it, because this exception actually comes from one of the Chinese dialects from the north, and you can easily meet people who speak this way in Beijing, because Beijing is from the north, and the Beijing language, Beijing people, the language Beijing people speak, it's quite similar to the northeast dialect of China. So what is the rule? The rule is when a noun is followed by the special character the noun and the they two form one syllable. The two form one syllable, which means from the spelling of the pinyin, they share most of the things, right? Because they are parts of one single syllable. For example, let's look at some examples here. 花儿, 花儿 means flower. Actually, for the first character 花, the pinyin is 花花花花. The rest one, the is from the second character. Similarly, we can see the same R, right? Same R corresponding to the second character Yeah, we can see this R in all three phrases. So they come after the first pinyin, but they too form one single syllable. This is not, I would say it's not standard Chinese. It's from one dialect. So you don't have to speak any dialect. It's just enough for you to speak standard Chinese. Okay. Okay, as we just discussed about, one syllable consists of three parts: initial, final, and tone. So what is initial? What is final? What is tone? Tone is simple, right? We have four tones. What is initial? We just learned about the phonemes, right? The vowels and the consonants. But where do we use them? Where do we use those vowels, those consonants? That is, here it is the place. Most of the consonants serve as initial. We have 22 consonants, right? Except one, all the rest 21 consonants serve as initial. So the special one, it's not initial. You would never say it in the place of the initial. So the second part, final. What is final? What are those things for final? Yeah, that's where the vowels play a role. So a final can be a monophthong, a single vowel. It can also be diphthongs, triphthongs, or vowel followed by a consonant, n or n or ang. Here, the vowel can be single vowel or can be either of these three types, 1, 2, 3, 4 vowels. So as we can see, consonants work as initial, vowels work as final. Perfect. So for the third part, tone. Okay, we have 4 tones for all the Chinese characters. The first tone, the second tone, the third tone, and the fourth tone. And we also have a light tone. We can also call it zero tone because there's nothing here. We don't mark anything as the tone, which means it's lighter. The way we pronounce it is lighter than any of these 4 normal or standard tones. So remember, we don't mark anything for the light tone. Okay, this is the 21 consonants that work as initials, except last one, And for final, we have 4 tabs. Yeah, let's look at each tab. The first tab is single vowel. So in total, we have 10 vowels, right? But what are those that can serve as final? Let's count it. A, O, A, I, U, Ü, E, I back. Yeah, there are 10 of them. So all of them can serve as final. So the second tab, multiphthongs. It can be diphthongs. It can be triphthongs. So we already practiced the pronunciation of all the vowels, right? Single vowel, diphthong, triphthongs. The third tab is vowels plus the consonant N. Yeah, we can practice the pronunciation here. A plus N, an, E plus N, N. I plus N, yin. I, A, N, yen, yen. U, A, N, wen, wen. U, E, N, wen, wen. U, A, N, wen, yuan, yuan. Yu, sorry, this is yu, not wu. It has 2 dots. It's different. Yu, a, n, yuan, yuan, yu, a, n, yun, yun. The fourth tab, vowels plus another consonant, Remember, for this consonant, the sound comes from the back of your tongue, from the back of your mouth, and through the nose to come out. A, E, N, I, yang, yin, U, wang, U, wen, O, I, yong. Okay, Okay, we have a very, very big table about all the syllables. Each syllable consists of initial. So the very left column is all the initials or all the consonants except the last one, right? And the rows are about finals. So we can see most of the finals are about vowels, right? We can see this is all the vowels. So the consonants plus the vowel makes a syllable or a pinyin. You can see every combination here. Each of them is a syllable, is a pinyin. It has corresponding Chinese characters. We can pick some to practice. Actually, I think it would not be difficult to speak out these syllables because we are all very familiar with the alphabet, right? Alphabet letters. Even though for some phonemes, the pronunciation between Chinese language and English it's a little bit different, but I would not think that's difficult, even though they're different. So maybe we can pick some randomly to practice. For example, the initial of b. Yeah, we can practice this row. B combines with every vowel or final. B, a, ba, bo, o, bo. Here it's blank. Why it's blank? Because in Chinese we don't have such syllable. We don't have the syllable that has bo and together. Bo, bear. We don't have such Chinese character. That's why it's blank. It's the same. All are the same for this reason. Bo, no, we don't have such character. But bo, I, by, we have characters. Bo, a, be, bo, ao, bao. Bo, bo, no. For English, we can think of boat, right? Boat, the bow. But in Chinese, we don't have such pronunciation. Bo, an, ban, bo, en, ben, bo, ang, bang. Pay attention to the slight difference. The sound comes from the back of your tongue, from the nose, coming out from the nose. Bo an ban, bo an ban, bo an bang, bo an bang, bo en ben. Let's practice the bottom line. The initial is L. This is L, right? This letter is called L in English. In Chinese, it's called L. L plus A, la. Le or lo, no, we don't have this, so it's blank. Le, yes. And no such combination, that's why it's blank. Le, I, lie. Le, a, lay. Le, ao, lao. Le, o, lo. Le, ang, lang. Blank. Le, ang, lang. Le, ang, lung. Le, ong, long. The same way you can practice other syllables. So these are the part of the consonants that serve as initials, right? And let's look at the other consonants that serve as initial. Z, c, s, zh, ch, sh, zh, ji, qi, shi, g, k, h. You've already noticed that there is an area with a big area with so many blanks, because these three initials, they don't combine those vowels or those finals to make a syllable or a pinyin. They only combine with other vowels to form a syllable. For example, for G, it can combine with E, G-E, G, G-E, G, G-A, 家, G-A, 家, 鸡腰, 交, 接, 接, 啾, 啾, 尖, 尖, 晶, 晶, 将, 将, 气, 气, 七, 掐, 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 七腰, 敲. So for G, Chi, Shi, it combined with just small part of the final or the vowels. So everywhere when you see a blank cell, that means there is no such pronunciation in Chinese system. Okay, no initial. This is very important in spelling of the pronunciation. I just want to introduce this to you. Maybe you already noticed something and you may be confused about it because you also see the initial part, right? But you don't understand, you don't see this initial anywhere in the consonant table, the 22 consonants table. You don't see them there. But why should we have this in the place of the initial? So this is a rule, it is a grammar rule, and it's not, actually, I don't think it's complex. Yeah, after I explain it to you, I hope it will be clearer. So for some vowels or some finals, they don't have to come after an initial. They don't have to come after a consonant to form a syllable. They themselves can make a single syllable. For example, on the top of the table, the first row, there is no initial here because these vowels themselves can be a single syllable. A, O, E. This A is a syllable. It has corresponding Chinese characters. A, Ao, O, each of them is a single syllable which has corresponding Chinese characters. So this is exception. This is the first exception scenario. So the second situation is about the vowel of yi. See, this line is the vowel or the final row, right? So when they themselves serve as a single syllable to make it more beautiful, or as a conventional rule, we usually change E to the letter Y, that letter Y. We change it to Y and we keep the rest of vowels as it is that come after the initial of Y, because the vowels, they can only belong to the final part, right? In a syllable, in the structure of a syllable. The initial usually is consonant. The vowels usually, they are usually the final part. So in all the combinations of vowels including E, first we change E to letter Y. Actually here Y is a fake initial. It's a fake initial. And then we attach whatever is there in the final part. For example, ER. To form a syllable, we change E to Y and we put whatever there. ya, yao, we change E to Y and we attach whatever is there. yang, we change E to Y and we put the rest there. So one special thing is when there is nothing behind the E, we not only actually we add the fake initial of Y and we keep E. So actually Y pronounces as E also. E plus E, that's E, the same. Similarly, the third situation for U. When we form a valid syllable, we change U to W. Do you still remember the consonant table? There is no W, right? Yes. That's why we call it fake initial. Because initial is usually a consonant. We don't see W in a consonant table. That's why we call it a fake initial. So similarly, for all the diphthongs or triphthongs, we change U to W and we attach whatever rest. Wu or wo, wu I y, wu and wan. For the single wu, we just attach the fake initial at the beginning. Similarly, for the vowel of yu, notice the difference from wu. It has two dots. It looks like the eyes. Does it look like the eyes of a fish? Because the pronunciation of this vowel yu is exactly the pronunciation of Chinese character fish. Yu, yu. So the rule here is it has the second step actually. Apart from adding a fake initial of Y at the beginning, we should also remove the two dots from a vowel of Yu to change it to another vowel, Wu. But because we have the initial of E at the beginning, actually the final syllable still pronounces as Yu. You don't worry, we remove the two dots. The form has changed, but actually the pronunciation keeps the same. For example, for a single yu, we add a fake initial yi, and we change yu to wu still because this pronounces as yi, wu, yu. So the final pronunciation still keeps the same, yu. The second one, yu plus yue. We add a fake initial E and we change U to U and we attach whatever there. So it's yue. The pronunciation is the same, just the form is different. From a final to a complete syllable, the form may change, but the pronunciation keeps the same. The third one, yuan. We add yi, we change yu to wu, and we attach the rest. Yuan, yun, also yun. So these are the four scenarios that we should add something or change something from the final part to make the a valid syllable. So when you see this pinyin, you should be able to understand what is the initial part, what is the final part, why it's this kind of combination. Okay, so the third component of a syllable is about tone. We have 4 tones, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have the fifth one, the light tone. So what is the first tone? First tone is a horizontal line. When you say it from pinyin, it's horizontal line. Second tone is a slanting, a falling line or dot. The third tone is like the letter V in English, right? The fourth tone is like a dot. It's like a dot from the top left to the bottom right. This is fourth tone. So how do they pronounce? First tone. For example, this pinyin ma, ma. The second tone, ma. The third tone, It has a turn. Actually, it has a turn. Ma. The fourth tone, ma, ma. So all the first, the second, the fourth tone, they are very short, right? They're very strong and short. But for the third tone, you can feel there is a turn, there is a change in the when you pronounce it. It looks like there is a turn. There is turn. Ma. Okay. Since we have so many phonemes, we have consonants, we have vowels in the syllable, where should we mark the tone? Where should we mark the tone? Why the tone is marked on this phoneme or on that phoneme? What is the rule here? There is a very simple rule or 3 rules. It's the rule about priority. So first, keep in mind, we only mark tone on vowels. On vowels, we never mark tone on consonant. So we have 10 vowels, right? So who is on the top? Who has the highest priority? That's the vowel of ah. So whenever you see ah in the syllable, we should always mark the tone above ah. So this is 天 来 好 小 快 See, the tones are all above ah, right? So priority 2. If there isn't ah in the syllable and there is or, either or, we just mark the tone above or. You may wonder, what should I do when there are both or and in the syllable? That's a good question, but don't worry, there isn't such situation. In all syllables, either o is there or is there. There won't be any syllable with both o and e. So don't worry if you cannot find r from the syllable and you find o or you just mark the tone above them. So the third tone, the third priority, without r, without o, without but it has yi and the wu. When so if there isn't, if the rule number 1 and the number 2 does not apply, we just mark the tone on the yi or wu, right? When yi and the wu come together, we do have a rule here. We always mark the tone on the latter vowel. So who is, which one comes on the second place? We just mark the tone above that one. For example, liu, wu comes, okay, after yi, so we mark the tone above wu. For dui, the we dui, we mark it above the last one, yi. So simply speaking, the priority order is R comes first. Next is O or air. The third one is E or U. And when E, U comes together, we mark on the ladder. So this is some examples of the 4 tones. For example, R, this is the final, right? So when it comes after the initial of B, and with all 4 tones, we can pronounce like ba, 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 ba. For example, I, bo I bai, bo I bai, bo I bai, bo I bai. Ye, ye. When it comes after bo, the same initial bo, right? Bo ye bie, bo ye bie, bo ye bie, bo ye bie. Similarly, in b, b in bing, b in bing, b in bing, b in bing. This one, n, b n ben, b n ben ben, b n ben ben, b n ben, b n ben. Okay, the last part, tone change. We just learned that we have 4 tones, right? For some characters, in most cases, it pronounces in a fixed tone, right? But in some rare cases, the tone may change. So what are those rare cases? There are 3 types of situations here. I just want to introduce the tone change for the character bu because it's very high frequently used Chinese word, Chinese character. Bu means not. So it changes in some situations. And the third situation, it is about the combination of 2 characters. The first one the tone may change for the first character. The last one is the tone change. Is the lighter tone. Actually, yeah, I put it here as one type of the tone change situation instead of one of the 5 tones we just learned about, right? So the character bu means not, no or not. So the normal pinyin for bu, pronunciation for bu is 4th tone. 4th tone, bu, bu hao means not good, 不好，不想 not want, 不想 not want. But when this character comes before another character whose tone is the fourth tone, we have to change the tone for bu from its normal tone, the fourth tone, right? Its normal tone is the fourth tone. We have to change it from the fourth tone to second tone. For example, 不去, 不去, this is already changed. If we pronounce it in its normal tone, which is the fourth tone, it should be like 不去, 不去, right? Actually, for begin learners, I do found that I have some foreign students, friends. They may not know about this rule. So when they pronounce this phrase, 不去, they quite often they pronounce it as 不去, 不去. They would think I'm following the standard way of saying the character 不, right? 不去, 不去. So you can easily, without seeing the people who are talking from the tone, you may be able to tell, okay, this must be a foreigner. This must be a foreigner because the pronunciation is, we cannot say it's wrong, but it's not native. It's not because he doesn't change the tone. So for the second example, 不错, 不错 means not bad. 不 means not, right? 错 means bad, wrong, not bad. 不错, 不错. If we pronounce it in the normal way, it should be 不错, 不错. But don't you think the normal way? I would say it's too, it costs us too much energy to pronounce it, right? We always want life to be easy, right? That's why we have so many rules about the change. We just want to say it, speak it in a more smooth way, in an easier way. So we should change it from the fourth tone to the second tone. So you can read after me again. 不去, 不去, not go, not go. 不错, 不错, not bad, not bad. So then the second exception situation is for a phrase which has two Chinese characters, and each of them is about the third tone. In this case, we need to change the tone for the first character from third tone to second tone. Let's just look at some examples. 你好, 你好, both are three tone, right? But the native way to speak it is 你好, 你好, 你好. So the second example, 老虎, 老虎, 老虎 means tiger. Instead of 老虎, we can say it in an easier way. 老虎, 老虎, 老虎. The third example, 雨水, 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 雨水. Instead, we should say 雨水, 雨水. It's faster and it's easier, right? The first one, 洗澡, 洗澡. Oh, that's the accent lasts too long actually. So instead, we say it 洗澡, 洗澡. Can you tell the difference? The second tone, I would say the first tone, the second tone, and the fourth tone, they all pronounce shorter than the third tone. The third tone, when we pronounce the third tone, it always lasts a little bit longer, which means we have to use more energy to pronounce it, to speak it. Life is already hard, right? Why don't we do it in an easier way? So we want to change the first character, change the tone for the first character. Okay, the last slide for today's class. When do we pronounce light tone? It's because of the same purpose, just as the last situation. We want to make it easier. We want to make speaking easier. So it happens mostly for the reduplication scenarios. So when the phrase has two duplicate characters, usually we see the second character in the lighter tone, which means the first character always sounds little bit stronger than the second character. But always they are duplicate characters. So for example, for the noun, these are all the titles for the family members. For example, 爸, 爸 means father. 爸, 爸, 爸. 爸, 爸. No, we don't say it this way. We say 爸爸, 爸爸. The second character is lighter, right? It's lighter than the first character. 爸爸. 妈, 妈, 妈 means mom, mother. 妈妈, no, we say 妈妈, 妈妈. 哥哥, 哥 is brother, older brother. 哥哥, no, we say it 哥哥, 哥哥. 姐, 姐 means older sister. 姐姐, no, that's not a native way to speak it. Instead, we say 姐, 姐, 姐 is lighter, right? It's very apparent. It's lighter. 弟弟, 弟弟 is younger brother. 弟弟, 弟弟. Usually, not only do we speak the first character stronger, we also speak a little bit longer. 弟弟, 弟弟. The second character is lighter and shorter, right? Similarly, for the verb reduplication, 看看看看看 means look, 看看看看。听听听 means listen, 走走走 means walk, 走走。Shall we have a walk? You may want to invite your families to have a walk after a meal, a lunch or the dinner. You may say, shall we have a walk? In Chinese, we will say, 我们走走好吗？我们走走。Or 我们看看。When we go into a clothes store, the owner may ask you, how can I help you? What do you want to buy? If you haven't decided what to buy, you may just reply, I just walk, I just look, I just have a look. In English, we don't say look, but in Chinese, we have this verb reduplication. We will say, 我只是看看. 我 means I, 只是 means merely, just, 看看, look. So another situation of this reduplication is about the phrase. It is usually about two reduplicative verb. For example, when you are tired, you want to take a rest, have a rest. You may want to say, I want to have a rest. In Chinese, maybe you want to have a rest for a short period of time. In that situation, that case, in Chinese, we would just use reduplicative verb phrases to express the short period of time. We can say 休息, 休息 means rest. 休息 See, the first phrase, we say it in a stronger way, and also we say it in a longer way. The second phrase, it's lighter and also it's shorter. The third situation for the lighter tone is about the suffix. We have some very frequently used suffix. They are 子 or 头 or 门. See, either of them has their own tone, right? For 子, it's the third tone. For 头, it's the second tone. For 门, it's the second tone. But when they come with other Chinese characters as the suffix, we usually say it in the lighter tone. We remove the tone mark and we say it in a lighter way. For example, 儿子, this means son. Son. Daughter, son, daughter, 儿子. Instead, we would say 儿子. 孩子, children, kid, 孩子. We would say 孩子. 桌子, 有一张桌子. There is a desk. 有一张桌子. No, instead we would say 桌子. 有一张桌子. Similarly for the suffix of 头, 石头 means stone. There is a stone. 有一个石头. No, we don't say that. We say 有一个石头. 馒头 no, 馒头. 木头 no, 木头. For the suffix of 们, 你们 means you, more than one people. 你们 means more than one people. 你们 means you, 我们 means we, 他们 means they. 你们 no, we would say 你们我们 we, 我们不是not 我们 So just remember these three typical suffix 子头门. When they come as the suffix of another characters, they usually pronounce in the lighter tone. That's all for today's pronunciation class. I hope I've covered all the normal situations and the exceptional situations. I understand that its pronunciation is one of the main pain points for people to learn Chinese, because Chinese character is logographic, right? It's not phonetic. You cannot see the pronunciation from the character itself. And since there is no correlation between the writing and the pronunciation, that's why it's so difficult for people to learn Chinese language as a foreign language. I do understand that pain point. So I would say, but one thing I want to emphasize is actually for very simple daily communication, actually you don't have to master so many Chinese characters. Maybe 1,000 or even 2,000 characters are enough for you to handle 80% of all the communications, either in oral Chinese or in written Chinese. Actually, even for native Chinese speakers, 3,500 characters are enough for them, even for people who are doing teaching job or investigators job. That's also enough. So if you put more time practicing the pronunciation, I believe it won't take much time for you to reach this 1,000 to 2,000 milestone. So thank you for your time for today. If you have any question or any suggestion, please leave me a comment below this video. Thank you.